Okay, so thank you so much for being here, Sarah. Will you tell us a little bit about yourself and who you are, what you do?
Well, I'm an actor. I also do, so I'm an actor. I do some voice work as well. I sing a little bit, that sort of thing. Yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
Awesome. That's great. So, like, what made you decide to become an actor?
I've always wanted to be an actor, I think. I don't think there was a time that I didn't. I love creating characters and yeah, uh, yeah, I've just always created characters, did different accents, and I was always learning different voices and that sort of thing ever since I was very young.
Oh, cool. So what are some of your favorite accents to do?
Well, one of the first accents I ever tried doing was basically the generic Irish accent. My great grandfather, I used to spend a lot of time with him, and when I was little, I was always trying to emulate his accent. But the first accent that I actually learned was English more so than Irish. So yeah, I like doing a lot of the different kind of UK accents. Those were the first ones that I learned, and then our East Coast accent as well. So yeah.
Proper English.
English?
Aye, let's hear it.
Oh, are you talking to like English accent?
That's right, let's hear your fucking
Okay.
English accent.
Well, yeah, this is like the generic English accent that I've learned, and it's kind of like I would say the more the upper class of the proper English accent, and so this is the one that I do this one quite often, and yeah, particularly I've actually been different characters and went places just pretending to have this accent so I could actually learn it. That's one thing I do with accents actually is I'll start to learn an accent and then I'll go and I'll take it and I'll use it somewhere, because then if I use it and I actually use it throughout the day, then that helps me to kind of hone it in a little bit. And then there's times that I will say things and I'm like, okay, that doesn't sound right, and then I can kind of work on it a little bit better, you know.
Oh, that's amazing.
So it's true that you can do a pretty good Scottish accent as well, correct?
I'm just learning my Scottish accent, so I'm
Oh,
very
let's
new at
hear
my
it.
Scottish accent. Well, I kind of use train spotting, and this is another thing I do with accents is I take bits to kind of start me off. So with Scottish, I think about from Train Spotting when she goes, "Gets to know the honour you, witty, adventurous, loyal, loving, a little bit crazy, a little bit bad, babe. Don't just girls just love that." And then I start talking like it, and then it gets into the Scottish accent a little bit better. But yeah, I'm still learning it. It's not so great yet where I want it to be, but yeah.
That's really cool.
There's a lot of like I'm still learning a lot of the R's and just changing certain things, fish, and like I pick up different words, right? Like I'm like, okay, and so I'm in the process of breaking those down and then figuring them out, and then that's how I go about it. But yeah, this is the newest endeavor of mine is to learn a Scottish accent and perfect that.
That's awesome. So where are you from originally?
I was born in Campbell River in British Columbia, and then I grew up in the Okanagan, and yeah, and then I moved to Vancouver the first time when I was 18 when I first moved here, and lived here on my own, and then went back to the Okanagan, and then, you know, back and forth a little bit. So yeah, but I'm a BC gal, I guess I should say.
That's great. So what kind of music do you make? I heard you say you like making music.
Yeah, I do a lot of folk music is a lot of, I guess would be the genre that I tend to do. When I was growing up, I mostly listened to a lot of neo soul and folk. Like that was kind of what I like. So I kind of like that mellowy, or like, you know, and I like lyrics. Lyrics are a huge thing for me. So the poetry side of things. So yeah, that's kind of what where I'm at, what I work on and stuff. So my main thing I would say would be folk for sure.
Oh, cool. So where do you find your inspiration for that? Do you like draw on what you've heard in the past, or does it just kind of come to you, or like where do you find your inspiration?
Oh, when it comes to writing music, for me, it's kind of a weird thing. So sometimes what'll happen is I'll get kind of a hook. So I'll be wandering around and all of a sudden I'll get this hook. And then that might just stew for a couple of days. But some of the songs that I've written over the years, I will start with something, and then all of a sudden I'll be sleeping and I'll wake up, and I'll be like, and then I've got a bunch, and then I'll be working on it, and then that's kind of how it works for me. And also I do a lot of, I guess, freestyle jamming. I love to jam. That's one of my things. So my friends will come up and they'll just start playing. I have some friends who beatbox as well. So then I'll mix kind of just putting lyrics in and, just start whatever's on my head and just kind of work it. And then, yeah, that's what I love doing the most. It's kind of improvisational and jamming and, but when I actually write, it's got a similar style in the sense that I'll come up with a hook, and then it's almost like that hook is if you're thinking about, is like the overarching idea of the song, and then you have, your main statement, which would be the verse, and then the chorus is like telling the story. It's kind of how I do it, I guess.
That's awesome. So
Do you apply music to art, to the stage and film?
Do I apply it to stage?
And film, yeah, to your art.
If it's presented to me, most definitely. I think in certain ways, when I'm creating character or things like that it does get involved in different ways concerning music or movement even.
That's what I mean. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I do apply it. Yes, would be the answer. Sorry.
So
how
like
did
when
you
you
apply
played
both of
Janis
those?
Joplin?
Yeah, how did you apply both of those to your roles, like the accents and the music? How did you kind of use those tools with being Janis Joplin in Deep Legends of Tomorrow?
Well, okay, so for Janis Joplin, yeah, I did listen to a lot of her music, and I tried to learn her songs and kind of her style. So there was that element of it. And then it was watching a lot of interviews and then looking at her biographies and getting an idea of who she actually was. So I could move deeper into that person, like when I was portraying her, so I could be more authentic in my representation of Janis Joplin. I kind of think as an actor, even though it's a bit part, like it was a small part, it was really important for me to try to represent her to the best of my ability. And so how I applied, oh, sorry.
You killed it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, how I applied the music part of it was, and the accent part was, yeah, it was just a lot of listening and then going back and listening to how I was doing things and trying to figure out where exactly her accent is from. And then just certain things about, she's a little shy. When I was watching her on some of her interviews, it's almost like she's shy, like she's funny and she's got a great wit about her, but she also has a little bit of a cover, I would say. And then there was just a lot of a need to be loved, and then also just kind of a lot of her pain being kind of covered by kind of being chill and like trying to figure out what is life all about and being kind of funny about things, like let's just slough it off. It doesn't matter, man. It's life, man. You just gotta just do it one day at a time, because that's all you got, man. And it's the whole thing of like, yeah.
Was it true that the director at first didn't even, he said it was not even necessary that you do an accent, but ended up loving it so well that you actually got extra lines because of your accent?
Yeah, no, that's true. I was talking about that, yeah, in the interview. So what happened was, yeah, I'd studied her, and then when I got on, I literally was supposed to just say, let go, and your mom, responding to Adam saying your mom. And then he was talking to the other person, because they were such small bits. So they had Jimi Hendrix, and he was just kind of getting hit. And, oh my gosh, I can't remember the other person. Oh, well. But anyway, they were just little tiny bit parts. So when I went in, it was just kind of like, it's not necessary to have me have the accent, because it will be so quick, people aren't even gonna have to pick up on it. But I overheard them, and then I was like, oh, wait, I've been practicing, I can do this. And said, what, you can do it? Okay, let's see this. And so I showed him, and then he got really excited about it, and he was like, all right, well, let's start just like kind of improvising, let's do some different things. So we started messing around, and part of that, you know, him having the idea of going like Little Robot Man, you know, that kind of came out of us mixing around and improvising, essentially, is what we were doing. And that's how a lot of that stuff came out. And then, yeah, the piece was extended a bit from what it originally would have been, which was probably just about as quick as the Jimi Hendrix, you know, bit. I think the Garcia, was the biggest part out of in the scenes of the different artists. So yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Well, it looks like we had some more people join us. Hi, Anika. Hi, Brian.
Hi, how's everyone today?
Good. Hi, Richard.
Hi.
Hello. Hi, guys.
Hi.
So where's everybody tuning in from?
Alberta.
Where?
Alberta.
Oh, wow.
Virginia here.
Awesome.
I'm in
Thank you.
Jacksonville, Florida. I'm in Jacksonville where they just opened the beaches.
What?
You're
Wow.
lucky.
Oh,
No.
goodness.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, that's what I say. It might have been too soon. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Anika.
Hey, Dean. How's it going?
Oh, lovely. Thank you. Sarah is just entertaining. Oh, my goodness.
I love your
Good.
accents.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, Sarah, I
Irish.
see there's a piece of art behind you, and I'm always interested in what people have. Is that what? Tell us about that. Is that?
It's an interesting story, actually. So I actually found this at Winners, right? And this was a while ago. I was just putting my thing, and I came across it, and it struck me. So I picked it up, and I got it. And then later on, I'll show you this. I ended up getting this other picture I saw at some art place, and it's just like, these are just kind of prints, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I saw this and I was like, oh, this is really beautiful. So I picked it up, and I believe the artist is Klimt.
Yes, they
it is.
remind me of Klimt. Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
so the funny thing is that, so I got this one, and then years later I get this one, and then I was looking at Klimt's stuff, and I was like, well, you know, I liked it, but I wasn't as drawn to it. And then it was really funny because I was going to school, I was taking my journalism at Langara, and they had this painting in a little print, and it's actually this painting, which turns out to be the
right.
full actual Klimt, which is the two pieces that I had picked earlier, which is, isn't that neat? Yeah, and it's the tree of life, and it's really symbolic for me, because, you know, sometimes I'm kind of a little bit whatever about symbolism. So one of the things I really loved was it's the different things of life. So there's just so much, there's dreaming. So the circles apparently represent like dreams and stuff, and the passion with the red, and then the gold, of course, that he puts in. And then there's the single person and the lovers and the tree of life, and that's symbolizing like life. The tree of life for ancient peoples depicted like the earth and going in up to the sky. So it
Yes.
connected the worlds, right? Like our whole thing, just kind of like how you have like in not work, right? So it's symbolized like not work and the triads and the three stages of life and the intertwining of life and death, and how it's all interconnected and things like that. So it was very interesting that was the one painting I was attracted to, and that I, in separate years, actually got pieces of that painting. So
Wow. That's cool.
That's crazy cool.
And great question.
Thank you.
How do you spell the artist's name?
it's Klimt, so Klimt.
T. Yeah, Klimt. T is in Tom.
It is just T. Yeah, okay.
And it's Gustav?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Can I hear your Irish accent, since your boyfriend has such a lovely one?
Do you want to show yours? My boyfriend's on here, by the way.
I'm here. I don't have too strong an Irish accent, to be fair.
But yeah, I've been doing my best to help Sarah work on hers as well. Yeah, go on. You can show yours off a wee bit, Sarah.
Right? Well,
Give it a go.
oh no, now everyone's going to be comparing my actual Irish accent with your accent, which is a little bit different because I haven't figured it out completely. But so let's see. There's the generic Irish accent that everybody knows. So I think it's more like the Kerry accent, and it has a little bit more lilt to it. So people will know this Irish accent. But then if I want to do it as a little bit more like a Dublin accent, then I have to take the lilt out a little bit more. And then there's things like film, tray, things like that, right? Is that correct, Killian? Anyway.
Yeah, you're getting it for sure.
There
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah.
It's certain. So yeah, so I originally, when I did my Irish accent back in the day, I used to always do just the very lilty and stereotype one, of course. And then it ended up going as well. I would go sometimes to the East Coaster. So let's see, East Coast accent. Yeah, where it's like more like this, you know, like our East Coaster accent, like, oh, Jesus, Lord, like, da, 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 you know, Newfoundland standoff. Like I would do more, you know, and go that direct. So, and now it's like honing that in and then trying to make it more like an Irish accent and having less lilt and then taking that down and then remembering your trees and stuff still and film and cinema and like things like that. So, yeah.
So when you do a show, you know, you do all of these great characters. So when you do something where you play a straightforward character like in Cherry Blossoms, how is that different as an actor?
I don't know if it's necessarily very different. It's just because it's all getting into whoever it is that you're representing or playing, or if you're, you know, being a certain person. It's understanding all of those dynamics and underlying things of that individual and then making that your own and just being present. So all of that is groundwork. So those are extra things to add to that groundwork, whether it's an accent or music or, you know, but when you're actually into a character, that base is the same, if you get what I mean by that. So when I play a character outside of this, it's a regular, has my Canadian accent, or, you know, I don't have to do any of that stuff. And I'm still building on understanding where that person has come from, where their life has come from, why they make decisions they make. And then also, once I get all that groundwork, then understanding the outside situation of what's going on. And then when I understand the outside situation, I mean, I'm learning the lines throughout that, but once I'm actually in the scene, I should just be able to be and to just listen, because any reaction that I have will be the reaction that's written, because that represents how my character would react, how my character would feel. Like it's like you think about when people respond to certain things, they respond in a particular way. And you always say, you know, when people argue, they say, okay, you have no control over how they react, but you have control of however you react, and how you react actually makes and creates the situation as well. Cause that's how your interpersonal relations work. Right. So the same thing when you're acting, you have to understand that how this person is reacting is also creating the environment that they're creating in that scene, and how that the other person they're with is reacting to that action. And so understanding all of those kind of levels of that helps you to just be in that moment. So all of that applies no matter whether you're doing an accent or music or, you know, that sort of, does that make sense? Or is that,
No, it does. But is it easier to play a character like out of accent? Because if you do one with an accent, I'm not good at accents, and I've never had to do a lot in theater, but it seems like the workload would be twice as much to be a character with an accent, because maybe I've just got.
Yeah, I guess if you put it that way, I mean, that would be an extra thing that I would have to learn, right? And also be able to just bring in, because when I'm doing it, I shouldn't be thinking about an accent. I shouldn't be thinking about, you know, that just should be a part of who I am being at that moment, right? When I'm in that scene. So I shouldn't be thinking like, oh, I got to do this and this. So yeah, like you say, the work before would be making sure that all of that is honed in, that I'm using the right language, that I'm pronouncing things correctly, dropping things when I need to, moving my, you know, all of that work, so that I can be in that place by time, you know, it's performance time. So yeah, I mean, there is extra that way.
It sounds like you have it down enough that you wouldn't even have to think about an accent though when you go into a role, because you're already there. It's like your brain's already turned on to it and you can just put that aside.
It depends for sure. And I definitely have to hone in on, once I'm doing something, to actually, I have to actually like take the time to really make sure it's refined and everything before I go into it. But I always find it's a challenge too, especially if it's something I don't know, then that's exciting, right? You know, if you're giving something that it's like, oh, I've never explored that before, I've never done that. Well, now you have to do all this back work and really get into things. And then you learn so many new things. You learn different ways to perceive the world. You learn different ways that, you know, people's lives or things have happened, and you get challenged on accents. And accents, I always find things like, I really find culture, accents, food, religion, all of these things I find very interesting, because it kind of encompasses how all these vast ways that us as human beings are. Like we have so many complexities, and there's so many ways that we've looked at the world over time, and then taking that into an individual level. I just find it so interesting. And the more I learn about these things, the more I start like really being able to look at different perceptions and see different things. And I find that enlightening in a way for myself as well, and learning about me, as well as like being able to sit back and go, okay, when certain things happen, see it from more than one point of view, and kind of like challenge myself to see other possibilities. And so in my life and everything, it works, but it also works in my work. And I think that's why I like acting too, just always that exploration. So having additional things like accents or music or characters from different, you know, socioeconomic statuses or times are so fascinating, because it allows me to develop on multiple levels.
Do some of the characters that you played influence your music? Say, for instance, you know, you have played Janis Joplin, for instance. Have you tried incorporating some of what she was? Maybe you find that has played into your personal music?
Yeah, no, it didn't actually, to be honest, except for learning how to do, like right now it hasn't in my personal music, but learning how to sing in her style, and some of this, like when she's doing the high, like her high things and the way she moves notes and things like that. Yeah, that was really interesting. That was definitely a challenge, but I haven't actually used that in my personal stuff yet. So
it sounds like that was fun for you.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Sing one for us.
Sing one. What? Sing a song first?
That would be so cool.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Okay, I'll do Mercedes-Benz, because it's a pretty acapella. All right. So, shall I stay out of town? I'm going home, man. Oh Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes-Benz? My friends all drive Porsches. I must make amends. Worked hard all my lifetime, no help from my friends. Oh Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes-Benz? Oh Lord, won't you buy me a night on the town? I'm counting on you, Lord. Please don't let me down. There you go. There's a little bit of one.
Yay!
Oh,
Thank you.
But I think the ball, she has this, let's see if I can challenge myself to do this. There she goes. Try. No, that's off key. Sorry. No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it right now. But yeah, try. Yeah. It's kind of I've been working on it with music and stuff. It's a little bit more
So Janice of you.
That was great. Thank you.
Like, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, she has this way where it's like her voice sort of, it's like it's.
And I think I got to bring it down a little bit. I'm trying to get it down off, like just off cuff, and I'm not there yet. So yeah.
It was beautiful. Thank you so much.
That was great.
Oh, you're so kind. Thank you. Yeah. So
what other projects do you have coming up?
Yeah.
Well, personally, I've been working. I have my friend Sarah Dinwoody, Trevor Carroll, and we've been working on a project. It's kind of a skit comedy thing that we've been doing. We call it Street Meat right now. So there are a couple of skits that my friend Sarah has written, and then my friend Trev directed it, and I'm in the process of editing and putting some stuff on it. It's just kind of a comedy skit group that we've put together. So
Wow, you have footage?
I do. I just haven't edited it together all yet. So I'll be posting it eventually. So yeah.
Exciting.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's yeah.
So what are some of your favorite parts that you've been able to play?
Oh well, theater wise, one of my favorite things to do was I did a piece from Danny in the Deep Blue Sea, which was really great. Yeah. Oh, and also Hell's Tomb was a great experience for me. It was a film. It was a feature film that I did, and it had actually come at a time when I had went away from acting. So I have 3 children.
Oh wow! Congratulations.
Thank you. They're all teenagers now. So, but I had been out of acting, and I had come across kind of an ad for an acting class, and I felt really kind of disconnected from my art. So I went into it, and then from that, I was asked to go and audition for this film, and I landed the lead role, and it was such a great experience for me, and it kind of got me back on the path of going into my acting again. So I was in the Okanagan when I did that, and I actually ended up packing up myself and my 3 children. Their father's from New Orleans, actually, so he moved back to New Orleans, so I was raising them on my own. And I packed us up in a literally like a hillbilly pickup truck, and we had this 3-level townhouse, and I packed us all up, and I went to like a 2-bedroom basement suite in Vancouver. We were just like, we're gonna do this, and just started really pushing my acting and doing it again after that. So
Rock.
That is amazing. That is so cool.
Well, you said that you've done a lot of theater and stuff. What kind of advice would you give somebody that has a theater background that's wanting to basically do the same thing but do it in front of a camera? What advice would you give them on the differences of things to be mindful for?
This is where I what was the Michael Caine video? I don't know if any of you guys are performers and had to watch the Michael Caine video where he goes, what does he say? He says, acting for theatre is like using a scalpel, and acting for film is like using a laser. And I was just
I know it.
You know that, right? Like,
oh yeah.
That I've done, that I end up having to watch the Michael Caine video over and over again. I'm like, oh no, I'm in another acting class and making me watch the Michael Caine video again.
Oh, but he's got great little tricks, right?
Oh,
He's
so
with the one-eye camera towards your Oh, I love it.
Thing everyone had to watch back then. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, and I mean, it applies to that day because they were always like, everything in theater is so big, and when you're in film, you make it small. But I think if with film, if you're being authentic and you're just being in the moment, and you're just being real, the camera picks it up. So the camera picks up anything that you're really. I find the camera picks up what you're thinking, what you're feeling. It's in your eyes, right? So the camera sees that, and if you're not present, the camera picks up that you're not present. So it's just being present, being in that moment, and listening and being, pretty much. And I would say, whereas you can get away in theater with being not present a little bit easier than you can for the camera, I think, anyway. And you're a little bit bigger when you're when you're in theater, except for at the same time, though, as I say that, if you are being and you're authentic and you're there and you're present and you're in the theater, you can still be big, and there'll be something that people are like, oh, I was so touched by that. I remember doing Ophelia, and I went into the corner. I would go in the corner before I did it was just like for competition and stuff. So I was doing her monologue, but I would go in the corner. I would really get into what Ophelia was going through and the man that she loved, like calling her a whore and like being crazy and just going, this man, I know he's going crazy and I don't know what to do, and just having all of these emotions. And I was just applying it to where I would be. And then I went on the stage and I performed it. And I remember this lady coming up to me, and she'd watched a couple of my different Shakespeare stuff, and she'd been crying afterwards. And she said to me, she's like, I hate Shakespeare because I never understand it. She's like, but you make me understand Shakespeare. And the thing was, it was like one of the best compliments I've ever received as an actor. But also the other thing is that even though I was doing theater, I was understanding and connecting with my character and being when I was there on stage. And I think so, even though you may not get all of the language of Shakespeare, you understand what's going on through like just the feeling and the interaction. So when people do Shakespeare well and they're feeling it as well as making sure they have their rhythms and all the other things with it, I mean, it can be very powerful.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, that all makes sense from like a spectator's point of view, because I love theater. I live in New Jersey.
Yeah.
I'm at Broadway shows as many times as I can afford and have the time to get there. And there's definitely that sort of, sometimes you get that disconnect where it's like somebody's like not present, and because it's like it's so big, it's sort of jarring.
Yeah.
And that's something I noticed where it's like, in film, television, it's like when somebody's not there, you're just sort of like, they're sort of flat, but it's not quite as jarring as when somebody isn't present in theater for some reason, even though you would think it would be the other way around, but I find it more jarring when somebody's in theater and they're not present, because of everybody being a little bit more animated and bigger than life to reach, the far reaches of the audience and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I guess it just applies then as a base, performing. So
yeah.
Yeah, listening was the one thing that I heard you say, and I just I don't want to take any spotlight, but everything that you said, Sarah, everything that you said is just it's sublime. It's true, and it cuts true to the point. Acting is just that. It's being. Embody the character. So do the homework, like you say. So well done, Sarah. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I noticed too that we have Sara and Dean here who both do accents, and we have another actor that's there on the panel, Brian McKay. So, Brian, can you do a Scottish accent? Because if you all three can, I definitely have to see all three.
I have a Scottish last name, but unfortunately, I cannot do a Scottish accent. Sara, do you do coaching for voice?
I haven't started, but I've been asked by a few people, and I have actually coached some people I coached on Hell's Tomb. I helped the girl do an English accent there. So yeah.
How many dialects can you do?
I can do most of the different areas of East Coast, like Boston, New Jersey, New York, and then a couple different sections of New York, like just changing it up a bit. And of course, just put the nasal.
When you get a coffee, if you say coffee the different way, it's not
Well, if you think about the Queen's accent, like that's the Janice, Mr. Sheffield, and the that's the Queen's accent, right? But all of them, they actually just change in the area of the mouth, but there's similar things. And Boston's really in the front of the mouth. And incidentally, there's things like they say at and departed and that sort of, yeah. And actually when I did you were asking about training, the one thing I really loved was through Trinity College, I did my speech and theater. And so doing that, there was a whole section that I had to learn where the placement in my mouth was for certain things. And that actually helped me later on applying that to my accents. So I can use that, and I've been breaking it down more to help people when they're learning particular accents.
This is why Brian's question is very valid. Exactly that, because you know that. you can translate it to us. Do you know what I mean? Who really want that help as well.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to help people with accents and do
I was going to say, Sarah, once things kind of go back to normal, I really, if you were up for it, I'd really like to work with you and hire you as a coach. I know for me personally, I can't sing, and it's something that I'd really like to learn. And I have been told that even if you can't sing, like everyone has it inside them. But I think I'm actually tone deaf, so you would have a lot of work ahead of you with me. I'd probably keep you busy for years.
Well,
I would love to teach you.
Pick up on, yeah, she could pick up on anything, like music, anything like that. I've noticed just like in the interviews and things. And I know once before you and I had a conversation a while back that we were talking about a Southern accent, and she listened to me for just a few seconds, and she.
Well, I think like breath and all of that is very important. And I think, you know, when you're a singer, I'm sure that, did you train in your younger years?
I had a friend, my mom's friend, who taught me some stuff when I was, you know, I go over to the house a little bit. So she would teach me. So for example, people think when you're singing a high note, you should be facing upward, but she's like, actually it's the opposite. And when you hit lower notes, you should actually open up this area more. So she'd teach me little things like that and how to work on my breath by doing a note and like trying to do it as long as possible and things like that. So then I would go home and I would practice that. And then at one point, I never formally went to anyone and had actual singing lessons, but I was very blessed to have people in my life who were singers who would go, oh yeah, I'll show you these little things. And, you know, and one of my friends' moms is a singer, and she's an incredible singer. And one day I was doing some singing in high school, and she said, if you ever want to come over, you know, we could. And I was like, are you joking me right now? Like, you were such a great singer. So she ended up showing me some stuff about vibrato and different things like that. And I think at the time I was super into Erykah Badu. Like I loved Erykah Badu, and I wanted to do like certain styles that she did in Shaka Khan, because Shaka Khan would hit these high notes and stuff. And so I ended up obviously doing my own version of that, but learning how to do certain things like that and learning how voice placement is and like how you hit the back of the throat. Like it's so hard and it's so cool, but I got to learn and have a lot more respect for those types of things. And yeah, so then I learned a lot of different skills from those people. I was really blessed to have those skills, but I've not gone to an actual formal singing class, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Doesn't seem necessary.
No, I was going to say the same thing. Yeah.
I would love to, though. I would love to. Yeah, I used to do like, it ends up being my own style, but what was it? When she would go, I'll do a little bit, this is not going to sound like Erykah Badu at all, but what I took from her was when she did this one, she would go, now every time I ask you for a little cash, you say no, but turn right around and ask me for some, well, now hold up, listen, partner, I ain't no cheap thrill, cause Miss Badu's always coming for real, cause you know the deal. Every time I go somewhere, I got to reach down in my purse to pay your way and your homeboy's way. And sometimes your cousin's way, they don't never have to pay. And that was not even, because when she does it, she goes, way. Like, it's just like so amazing. It's like when you hear Billie Holiday does these low notes when she does like, and she goes, like all the way down. You're just like,
and it's like this.
He's like, oh, and chills.
She's a piano. Yeah.
Oh, so good, so good.
Oh.
So yeah, so I mean, I obviously can't emulate those people, but I definitely respect and honor and like just have like love those people, and then learning like their music and stuff like that, and then learning different ways of placement and like trying it myself has helped me to kind of with my range as well too when I was younger. Anyway, yeah. Went on an Erykah Badu tangent, sorry.
That was awesome.
It's a very
Became
easy
a hillbilly. There's no such thing as a tangent on a panel.
No.
No, there's just so many movie ideas as you speak. You know what I mean, of what you should do and what you could do, and oh man, you know, definitely want to do the life and times of Janice. I think you would kill it.
I would love to be able to do that. That would be an honor for sure.
What other aspirations do you have? What roles? What things do you want?
That is a heavy question, Dean. Jeez.
Well, get on it, because I know exactly what I want.
Yeah, I don't know. I just want to be able to act, to be honest with you. I just want to be able to be doing it. That's pretty much, I'm right at this point. I'm just like, yeah, let's go perform. Let's go play. Let's do this.
Oh,
So
good.
my ultimate goal
So
was to make a living doing my art.
So Hope, when there's some kind of big movie deal that comes out where Brian and Dean and Sarah and everybody that's on a panel is attached, remind them that you get a commission.
Yeah. Oh,
So during this strange time, have you discovered anything new? Have you tried something new?
Yeah, I tried a new, my friend Daryl, he actually challenged me to a Shakespeare monologue thing. And so I thought, okay, well, I could do my usual female ones that I know, just do something that comes easy. But then I thought, no, I'm going to challenge myself. And so I decided to read Coriolanus, and then I did one of the scenes from that. And it was also the male role. It was his role. And it was a lot of fun for me to do that. So yeah, and then I've been kind of through this whole time of us being isolated, I've got a list of stuff. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to start doing these things and then posting them. So I'm just being creative, just challenging myself with new and different things, and then just sharing it on my social media. So yeah, it's all the new stuff that I'm challenging myself for, mainly some different monologues. And I'm just looking at my thing. I'm trying to think. And then some other songs. So I actually am planning on putting some songs out and, putting them on my social media.
Cool.
So what's some of your favorite Shakespeare plays to do?
Well, I really loved doing the little bit from Coriolanus. It was a really cool, interesting play. And just reading his character, and that the whole thing of someone who's so prideful and just feels like it's almost like I'm the one who keeps everybody alive, and like the slaves don't present anything of standard, and like almost like that kind of, they don't have a voice. And then when he's thrown out from that, and just and then just talking about war and how people get put into these situations where it's just like, that's your identity, like that's where your worth is held and things like that. So that was interesting. And I like that about that particular play. There's a lot of, trying to pick a play. There's so many, the funny plays, like As You Like It and things like that. I don't know if I have
So did you do that part for Coriolanus? Did you do that as Coriolanus woman, or did you keep it Coriolanus male?
I just did it as me. It was just like a little monologue piece and a monologue challenge. It was like, I did it more as a warrior is how I saw it, not male or female as much as just as, I just put my hair back, and I thought about like somebody who would have been in the military and what they would look like, and then just kept it pretty plain, and then just spoke directly to the camera as if I was speaking to the person. So
cool.
Brave.
Yeah. So yeah, I actually, not to whatever and think, my one son, he's does animation, and he draws. Yeah, he's really talented, and so he's been putting up his page and stuff, and sometimes I put his stuff on my Facebook. So we've been thinking about him doing some work and then having me do some of the voices and things like that.
That would be really cool.
And
So
how old your son?
he's 18. So I have
Okay.
I have an 18-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 15-year-old. So
And how are they doing during all this?
they're pretty good. And actually we do a lot of family meetings. We like hang out together and stuff too, but we also just sit down and have talks and kind of check in with each other and see how everything was. And our last one was hilarious because we were sitting around, and then my daughter Danae, she's like, did you notice we've gotten along really well throughout this? There hasn't been any fights.
Oh boy.
I know, right? It's the starting. It's on now. Yeah.
And then you have your alone time too, I bet. You know, like
Yeah.
go over there.
It's so funny though, because like I'm used to, you go to school and sometimes I'm not working during the day. So I'd have my alone time during the day. And now with them here all the time, I don't mind if they stay up late because that means that they sleep in during the morning, and then I get my morning moments, or I just sit, it's just me, everybody else is sleeping. I'm like, I'm not touching them. I'm not waking them up. No. Sleep in. Go ahead. Yeah.
Right. So we were talking about Cherry Blossoms earlier, and I know that's in post-production right now. When will that be actually out for
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly
everybody to see?
Yeah, I'm not sure when that's coming out yet. I did talk to Riley recently. She's just in the finishing bits of it. I definitely will post it on my social media when that happens. Yeah, but I can't tell you at this point, to be honest with you.
Is it
I know the
gonna be a
website's up
limited
is
theater?
really.
Yeah.
Is it going to be a limited theater release, or is it going to the festivals? How is this one going to work?
So she's been putting the screenplay in festivals right now. So once it's completed, she'll be definitely putting it in festivals. And anything that's related to cystic fibrosis, there are some different, what's the word? Like venues and things that she'll be putting it through that are related to that. So yeah, and then she's going to have a couple, I hear in Vancouver, I know she will. At the Rio and things like that. I'm not sure throughout North America. She probably will have some in the States where she'll release it. Yeah, so
that's good.
So can you kind of give everybody an idea of what that's about?
Okay, yeah. So Riley's sister passed away from cystic fibrosis. So the story just tells about her struggles and her passing, how it affected the family. How it affected her throughout that process, and just raises awareness of the disease. And she has little parts where she took actually pieces from her sister's diary. So her sister had written all of these different passages, and so they would take different passages. Like there was one where her sister was imagining that she was a superhero, and so she'd insert those things, and it just talks about, the different trials and errors. Oh, and having her first relationship when she had been healthier, and then going back, and all of those things that you have to deal with, like trying to be a teenage girl and having this disease to kind of maneuver around, and then wanting to be independent because she passed when she was in her early 20s. And so she tried to go to university for a little bit, and trying to do these things, but then getting really sick and then having to go back home. So it was just all of these different struggles and what she was feeling and what she was going through. And it really gives you that perspective.
Who do you play?
It was so funny because Riley, when this first happened, Riley came up to me and she goes, I want you to play the mom. I want you to be her mom. And she's like, la, la, la. And then we went and auditioned, and her mom was in her 40s, and I went and auditioned, and we did the whole bit with the girl, but the girl looked like she was my sister. And then they were like, you can't play a 40-year-old. You look too young to play 40, and you look like sisters, and la, la, la. And so she was trying to fight for me to play the role. And then it was just like, no. And there was another woman that had auditioned, and she, like, seriously, no word of a lie, is perfect. She looks exactly like her mom. So she ended up coming in and playing the mother role. And so my friend Riley still wanted me to be a part of it. And so I said, yeah, just put me in it. So she made me just this young mother in that role. So I'm a young mother in the hospital, and I'm kind of see her mom crying as she's passed, and I'm making judgment basically on her being all emotional, not really realizing what's going on. So I was just a smaller role, and then I helped her with catering and that sort of thing. So I just really loved the project, and there weren't a lot of roles, so it was like mainly 2 main characters, right? And then some of the friends that the girl had.
Well, I know
Super
there's a
cool.
great promo shot of you sitting at a table, like with a deck of cards. And so, like, what is it about that scene? Like, what is it that kind of happens with that scene without
Well, that wasn't a
giving
scene
away a plot?
we were actually waiting. So we were waiting around, and I decided to show them one of my card tricks. So I was laughing because I was doing card tricks for people, and then so I was laughing at that, and we were actually just sitting around on our break. So it wasn't a part of my scene at all, to be honest.
Well, that's great though, because that was one of the shots that was used, I think, in some of the promotional
she did
aspects
use
of
the promotional, and it was yeah. I think it was just a really great moment when we were all hanging out. So
That's awesome. So is there a way that people can find you, like on Facebook or?
yeah, so under my name, Sara Rabey at Facebook, and then my Instagram is my name put together, so it's just SARARABEY, just as one word.
Oh, that's great.
Do you have a YouTube channel?
I do. I put a little bit on it. I'm working on expanding that, and also I bought my domains, so I'm planning on putting up my website and getting all that together during this isolation period as well. So that would just be my name at .com or .ca. So
that's awesome.
Thank you.
Well, this
Sara.
this is so
sorry.
cool.
I just followed you on Facebook. We have 100 mutual friends, so
nice.
I'm sure we probably crossed paths.
Isn't that hilarious? Yeah, Dean and I looked at him like, we have like 300 mutual friends. Like, why do we have all these friends and we've never met? Like, what's going on? This industry, it's funny.
It's social distancing. That was that we were practicing it before. That's what it was.
That's exactly what was going on.
Yeah, you guys did it before it was cool.
Right?
We were the trendsetters of social distancing. Yeah.
But it's fascinating, Vancouver. I mean, it's a big city, but there's so many actors and stuff there, and it's hard to believe that there's so many people that are connected in so many ways that have
Right.
never met.
Yeah, there's a lot. Sorry, it kind of cut out a little bit, so I missed some of that. But yeah, it is. There's a lot of different connections. Vancouver itself is, for being a city, it's actually quite small. It's almost like a small town city, especially when you get involved in a particular group. It's like, like kind of the communities are really nicely knit together.
Well, thank you so much for coming, Sara. This has been just absolutely incredible. I'm so glad you came, and thank you to everybody who tuned in and for all the people who are going to watch this after it goes live. Is there anything you would like to say to everybody before we sign out?
Yeah, I would love to thank all of you guys. Like, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you coming and talking with me. And yeah, thank you so much, guys. It was great.
Thank you for sharing yourself with us.
Mm-hmm.
This was great.
I had fun, man. This is really good. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Thank you for
Sara.
coming.
Okay, bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Stay safe, everyone.